Okay, what is going on, Gridiron fans? I am the Gridiron Guy, and this is my mock draft madness. Okay, things got real crazy this week. The Bengals won a game, pushed themselves down. They beat the Houston Texans, which pushed the Texans down into the number 3 pick. Stuff's going to get crazy. I promise you that. Okay, if you haven't been here before, please consider clicking the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Look for my mock draft madness videos in the future. Also, I'm working on doing a breakdown by position: quarterback, wide receiver, defense, offensive line. I'm working on doing a breakdown for each position. You know, a top 5. Some of the deeper classes, I'm looking to do a top 10, possibly. Mostly just first, second, and third round type picks for now until the combine happens. Then we're gonna have a more clear picture on what this draft and what some of these players are actually gonna look like. But for now, we get to have fun doing these mock drafts. We can get crazy. We can trade up. We can trade down. Whatever we want to do, we can do it. We can surmise anything we want here. So, this is the Draft Network's mock draft order. Okay, so don't beat me up over the order. Feel free to comment on the picks. You think I'm crazy? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Whatever. Give me a comment in the comment section below. I enjoy listening to everybody's comments, even the bad ones. Whatever, the ones telling me I'm crazy or question mark this player, whatever. I don't care. It's a mock draft and we're gonna have fun with it. Okay, so let's have some fun. Okay, so it's gonna be this way probably until the draft happens. The Jets won a second game, therefore there is no way the Jags will lose the number 1 spot. That is the first pick that is absolutely locked in. The Jaguars at number 1, taking Trevor Lawrence. Okay? Now we're going to get crazy, okay? The Jets say, listen, we are not ready to move on from Sam Darnold. Okay? We're going to fire Adam Gase. We're going to get an offensive-minded head coach who actually knows how to head coach. We're going to bring him in. We're going to bring in somebody like a quarterback guru, somebody who's good with a quarterback, somebody like maybe Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden's pretty good with quarterbacks. So bring in a guy like Jay Gruden maybe to be the offensive coordinator or, be the quarterback's coach, something like that. Offensive-minded head coach. And the Jets say, we're sticking with Sam Darnold. We're not ready to go with a rookie. We're going to take Penei Sewell instead. Okay? Now things are going off. Fireworks have started in the war rooms. Okay? Trades are happening. People are on the phone. They're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. They're scrambling. But some teams were ready for this. Okay? One of those teams was the Carolina Panthers. Okay? Panthers, get on the phone. Hey. We want that number 3 overall pick, Dolphins. What's it going to take? Dolphins say, well, you want it? Come get it. Okay, so the Dolphins are like, hey, there's like 5 players on this board we still want. We don't mind moving down a handful of spots, especially since we know there's probably going to be 2 quarterbacks taken off the board before we pick again. So, Dolphins are like, yeah, we're cool with that. We'll move down. There's like 5 or 6 players we're still willing to take. Panthers are like, all right, good. We're going to move up. We want to take Zach Wilson. The Panthers move up from 9 for the number 9 overall pick, and a 3rd round pick. So now the Dolphins have 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds in this draft. So the Dolphins are flying high right now. All right, the Falcons are up. The Falcons are saying, oh, man, we were really hoping to get Zach Wilson there. We knew the Dolphins wouldn't take a quarterback. So the Falcons are like, well, we're going to take Trey Lance. So now we have the Bengals, okay? Bengals on the clock. Bengals are pissed right now that Penei Sewell's off the board. They're not happy. They're looking for trade partners, okay? The Bengals are on the clock, or the Bengals are on the phone. They got 2 teams on the phone, okay? Okay, so there was 2 teams on the phone with the Bengals. One of those teams was the 49ers. The other one was the Bears. Ultimately, the 49ers were willing to part ways with more picks. Also, they had the 15th overall pick. The Bears actually had the 20th overall pick. So ultimately, the Bengals slide down to 15. They pick up a 2nd round pick and a 5th round pick in this year's draft, and a 1st and a 3rd in 2022's draft. So, for a team like the Bengals, who is rebuilding, to collect 4 picks, and one of them being a 1st round pick, is a haul. Now, both teams, the 49ers and the Bears, both feel like they are a productive quarterback away from being a playoff contender. In fact, the 49ers have Jimmy Garoppolo, but they are probably going to move on from him. They are probably willing to move on from him because they don't want to have to pay him. They feel like they have the team built around a guy like Justin Fields to move up, take a guy like Justin Fields. He can roll out of the pocket, he can throw short passes, he can dink and dunk. He is the perfect quarterback for the 49ers system. I don't see a better fit for the 49ers or Justin Fields other than the 49ers. So the 49ers move up to the top 5 and they take Justin Fields. They wanted to get in on the quarterback frenzy before all the quarterbacks are gone. Okay, now this draft is going to calm down a little bit. We're going to see what's going to happen here. Okay, so now we're looking at the Eagles. Eagles could go a number of ways here. Lots of help. They need lots of help on this team. They could go Surtain. They could go Farley. They could even go Jamar Chase, Micha Parsons, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. They could get an offensive tackle like Christian Dursock. They have so many needs on this team. So many needs. But ultimately, they need some juice on the offense. They're going Jamar Chase. Okay, they almost have to go Jamar Chase. They showed a stat the other week when I think it was the Cardinals were playing the Eagles. They showed a stat saying that the top 3 wide receivers on the Eagles didn't have as many combined yards as DeAndre Hopkins. You gotta get some productivity out of your wide receivers. And they have to get a guy like Jamar Chase, the most productive wide receiver in this draft. Actually, I can't say the most productive wide receiver, but he is the best wide receiver in this draft, in my opinion. Devontae Smith is a very close number 2. Okay, speaking of Devontae Smith might be going right here. Okay? Lions, quite a few needs. They need a linebacker. Micha Parsons is here. They need wide receiver because Who knows if Galloway's going to re-sign? Marvin Jones is getting a little bit old. They do have Hawkinson, so they do have some weapons. But ultimately, I don't know if they can pass up on a guy like Devontae Smith. Even if it is for a guy like Micha Parsons. That is tough. That is really, really tough. But ultimately, I think they got to do it. I think if they're going to stay legit, at least somewhat, if they're not totally blowing it up, then they got to go Devontae Smith. Okay, this leaves the New York Football Giants with lots of options, actually. They need 3 of the best players available right now. They could use Micha Parsons, Gregory Rousseau, Patrick Sutain, Caleb Farley, Jalen Waddle, Kwity Paye. I mean, they could use any of these players. Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, Rashad Bateman, Joseph Asaya. The board is wide open for these guys. Oh, man. I don't know, between Gregory Rousseau and Micha Parsons. They need them both. I'm going to go Gregory Rousseau, though. I think this guy is a physical freak. I think he's going to test out as a physical freak at the combine. I think he's going to be a clear number 1 edge rusher in this draft once the combine happens. Okay, so that leaves some things open for the Dolphins. The Dolphins were like, we knew this would happen. We traded down to number 9 from number 3. The Dolphins were happy with getting Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Gregory Rousseau. They were happy with Micha Parsons, Patrick Sutain. They were happy with any of these players. Even possibly Kyle Pitts. They were happy with getting any of these players. Kwity Paye. Any of them. Christian Durasaw. They're happy with taking Jalen Mayfield, Wyatt Davis, whatever. They were happy moving down because they picked up a pick for it. Okay. But at this spot, they have to go Micha Parsons. They have to. Micha Parsons takes that defense from top 10, top 12 to potentially top 5 and maybe, dare I say it, top 3 or even one of the best defenses in the league. Micha Parsons flies around. And that Dolphins defense is no joke right now. You add a guy like Micha Parsons and forget about it. And the Dolphins still have a pick in this round, and 2 in the second, and 2 in the third. The Dolphins could do some damage in this draft, this upcoming draft. All right, now we have the Broncos on the board. I think it's pretty cut and dry. They go Kwity Paye. Von Miller's not getting any younger. They got Bradley Chubb a couple years ago. Now it's kind of the passing of the torch from Von Miller to Kwity Paye. And, the Broncos are good for the future going forward with Bradley Chubb and Kwity Paye. And maybe if they do keep Von Miller on the roster, maybe they use him as, a third down specialist or, a passing down specialist, when the opposing offense has no choice but to throw the ball, maybe late in the game, whatever. But they could use Von Miller in more of a specialist role and use Kwity Paye and Bradley Chubb to do, the grunt work of, playing the run and playing 3 downs and all that stuff. All right, now the Cowboys. The Cowboys somehow managed to have the only 2 corners still sitting here while they're on the board at number 11. But the Cowboys have some issues. The Cowboys have cap issues. Okay? There are 3 corners left on the board. Okay? There is 2 offensive tackles left on the board. These are both needs. Okay? So what I'm saying is the Cowboys are going to trade down. Okay. So the Cowboys were willing to move down 3 spots to number 14, but they did not want to move down past the Bengals for 2 reasons. Actually, just one reason. Because the Bengals also need an offensive tackle. So they were not willing to move down behind them because they wanted to set themselves up for a good position. And the Patriots move up. They give up their first round pick, a third and a fourth in this draft. So the Cowboys move down a few spots. They save themselves some money. And they pick up draft capital that they're going to need because they cannot re-sign everybody on their team. They're going to need players to fill in because they simply can't sign everybody. They got money issues. It just hasn't really come out yet. But everybody knows it. It's just not being talked about. Okay. So, why do the Patriots move up? Do they want a quarterback? No. They want to make sure that they get Kyle Pitts. They're done waiting. They feel like it's a time for him to go. They're willing to move on with picks. You know, yeah, they want a quarterback, but there's going to be plenty of quarterbacks getting tossed out of their own teams this year. Maybe they want one of those guys. Maybe they're willing to go with those guys, like they did last year or this year with Cam Newton. They were willing to just, all right, well, we'll go with Cam Newton. Okay? They're willing to do it. So who's to say they're not going to do it again? All right. So the Chargers are happy. Christian Dursaw is still on the board. Wyatt Davis is still on the board. Even Patrick Sutain is still on the board. So what do the Chargers do here? I think the Chargers have to go Patrick Sutain. I think they have to. There's no doubt about it. All right. Now the Vikings would have been happy with a guy like Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. Obviously, they would have been happy with Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence is never going to get to the Vikings unless the Vikings trade for the number 1 pick. So they're upset. They're like, all right, well, we didn't really want to go with one of these other 2 quarterbacks, so we're going to stick with what we got, and we're going to go with Christian. They could go Christian Dursaw. They could go Wyatt Davis. Wyatt Davis is the best interior offensive lineman in this draft. Elijah Vera-Tucker, very good. Creed Humphrey can play center or guard. You know what? Creed Humphrey is going to be the pick. They need a guy who's just versatile, who's just going to be a day 1 starter somewhere on that offensive line. If they can't get a quarterback. And in this draft, it's looking like they're not. Not in this particular mock draft. All right, well, here's the Cowboys. They're sitting here. Caleb Farley's here. Christian Dursaw's still here. Quarterback's not really an option for them. Edge, they still have Joseph Asai here if they wanted to take him. So there's options on the board. Okay? Caleb Farley. I think they have to go Caleb Farley here. They have to. Offensive tackle is not as much of a need as their atrocious secondary. I just, they have to. They have to. Okay, so the Bengals are here. They're in a good spot now. The Bengals' top three needs, okay, are offensive tackle, cornerback, and wide receiver. And look what we have here. We have a wide receiver, Jalen Waddle. We have an offensive tackle, Christian Dursaw, and J.C. Horn. So it was a great move for them to move down, pick up some picks. They picked up a haul. They picked up like 4 picks to move up, including a first-round pick next year. So now the Bengals have 2 firsts next year to build this team, right? They got to build this team. They got to build an offensive line. Christian Dursaw. They have to go offensive line. Joe Burrow got hurt. If they couldn't get Penei Sewell, then they have to go Christian Dursaw. They have to go Jalen Mayfield. They have to go Samuel Cosme. One of these other top-tier tackles, they have to get them. They have to go tackle. Okay? They move down. They still get the second best tackle off the board. Everybody's happy. Okay? The Las Vegas Raiders on the board. Okay? Raiders could go a guy like J.C. Horn. Maybe go another cornerback in the first round. Travis Etienne's here. Could you imagine the two-headed monster that Josh Jacobs and Travis Etienne could make? Jeremiah Wusu-Karamoa, linebacker. They could use a guy like Jalen Mayfield that could bust him inside if they needed him to. But ultimately, Joseph Ossai is sitting here. They have to go Joseph Ossai. This guy's versatile. He can play edge. He can play outside linebacker. He's the perfect guy for what the Raiders need right now. Okay? So now we're looking at the Cardinals. The Cardinals need corner. They need edge. There's not much of an edge presence here right now. Got some edge down here. But nobody imminent. We're looking at interior offensive line. They can go Wyatt Davis. But I think they're going to go J.C. Horn right here. They have to get a corner to solidify that back end. Then they'll have a foursome, a very good foursome on the back half. They'll have Byron Murphy. They can move Patrick P to free safety. They could take Isaiah Simmons and make him a linebacker. They'll be set. Okay. Now the Colts are looking like the Colts want to take a quarterback bad. Okay, but they're not sure they want to take Kyle Trask. Jalen Mayfield's here. Eric Stokes is here. They could go Rashad Bateman or Jalen Waddle. Even Travis Etienne. If they could. Nyheim Hines is there. They could create a three-headed monster. That's very unlikely though. But it's just an option. It's something they could go with. Getting some playmakers on that offense. I'd really like to see them go wide receiver. But I just don't know about you know what? I'm gonna go Kyle Trask here. I'm gonna go to Kyle Trask. Forget about it. Okay. Now, Washington football team released Dwayne Haskins this week. Okay? Just dropped him. Said, yes, we are definitely not sticking with this guy. Okay? I think Washington football team is willing to go forward with Alex Smith. Yeah, I know Alex Smith's like 36, 37, 38 years old, whatever, however old he is. I understand that. I understand, but this guy, even though they did poorly this year, this guy has them in the playoffs. And Alex Smith wasn't around for like what 8 games, and they were terrible. Alex Smith comes back, and now he's got them winning that pathetic division, and and now they've obviously moved on from Dwayne Haskins. That is super obvious. Okay, but maybe they're not ready to just draft a quarterback, especially where they're sitting. You know, there's no real. Mac Jones is not going to be better than Alex Smith is right now. I think they sit tight, they go with Alex Smith, and they say Kyle Allen is our future guy. Ron Rivera drafted him when he was with the Panthers. I think he likes Kyle Allen, and I think he wants Kyle Allen to be his future quarterback. And he wants him to sit behind Alex Smith until they no longer have an option. Unless they want to go out and get a quarterback next year. Or one of these free agent quarterbacks becomes available and they like him. Maybe they want to groom him for a year. But I honestly think Alex Smith is a starting quarterback day one next year. That being said, I think they go Jalen Mayfield. Now, the Bears cannot afford to hang on anymore. They probably won't even have a quarterback by the time the draft happens, unless they go out and get one of these free agent quarterbacks. Because, frankly, I don't think Foles or Trubisky will be on this roster come draft time. Somebody will be at quarterback. That's why I think the Bears will be desperate enough to go with Mac Jones. I think they will. I think that big, gold rush at the top of the draft for all the quarterbacks, I think it kind of forced the Bears' hand, saying, hey, if we want one of these top tier guys, well, actually, Mac Jones and Kyle Trask are like third tier guys. You got Trevor Lawrence, then you have Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields in a second tier, and then you have a third tier with Mac Jones and Kyle Trask. It just so happens though that there are so many quarterback needy teams in the first round that all 6 of them will go, I think. All right. So now the Jags got their quarterback. Okay? They got their quarterback. So now what do you got to do? You got to get him a tackle. Or you could get him a weapon. Like Pat Fairmouth. I don't know. Jeez. Rashawn Slater's still here. Eckenberg's here. I'm going to go Pat Fairmouth. Screw it. Get him a weapon. Okay? They got Laviska Shenault last year. They have DJ Chark. They have some weapons. But you know what? What they don't have is a tight end. They haven't had a good tight end there in a while. Okay? Moving on. Browns on the clock. I think it's Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. That's the pick. Wow. Holy crap. We have the Dolphins on the board. And they have a shot at Jalen Waddle. I swear I did not plan this out. They could even take Wyatt Davis, interior offensive line. But they can get any kind of interior offensive line in a second or third round where they also have 2 picks each. And to pass up on Jalen Waddle when you have Tua already there would just be crazy. That offense has a little bit of trouble moving the ball. So if you give Tua a familiar target in Jalen Waddle, chemistry through the roof for years to come. They're already used to playing together. All right, now we got We have the Ravens. Ravens need safety, edge, wide receiver, tight end. I think, these guys do need a little. I would say offensive line as well. Their interior, their offensive line is getting a little bit old. I mean, Yanda retiring obviously hurt them on the interior. But I think a wide receiver like Rashad Bateman will really help them out. Really help them out. All right. So now we have the Titans on the board. Titans could go edge. It's not really a ton of edge help here right at the moment. So I think the Titans are going to go Eric Stokes. Grab themselves a corner. Let's just play good defense. I think the Bucks go Jay Tufele. USC. He's playing really well. Actually, that entire USC team is playing pretty well. All right, Jets back on the board. Jets didn't take a quarterback. They moved down. Or no, sorry. They didn't move down. They sat still, and they took a tackle. Now they're sitting here. Now they need to get Sam Darnold a weapon. Okay? They could get him a guy like Travis Etienne. Terrace Marshall's here. They already got a tackle, so a lot of these guys are out of the question. Chris Olave. Amon-Ra St. Brown is available. Rondale Moore. And I like some of these guys, but not exactly in the first round. Okay? If they're sitting tight, I think they're taking Travis Etienne. Mims is coming along. They kind of have a little bit going. This is a deep wide receiver class. They're picking in another 6 picks. They could grab a wide receiver there. There's plenty still available. Travis Etienne may be gone by then. A couple of these last teams, the Steelers, being in front of the Steelers might want a running back. None of these teams want a running back. But the Jags the Jags won't want a running back either. You know what, though? They have Travis Etienne right now. I mean, that ensures that nobody can trade into any of those picks and take Travis Etienne on them. Why take the chance when you want the guy right now and he's available right now? Okay. So now we have the Steelers on the board. Steelers really need a nose. And there's no nose tackles right here in the first round. So I think they stay put and they take Samuel Cosmi, offensive tackle. That offensive line is getting old. I think every offensive lineman they have is over 30. He's at least 29 and over. It's looking bad. They have to start addressing that offensive line, especially if they plan on going with Big Ben one more year. If Big Ben doesn't retire after this year, they have to start building that offensive line because they're going to need a quarterback soon. And you can't have an old offensive line protecting him. All right. So the Saints on the board. Saints could go linebacker. And you know what? I think they're going to take Zaven Collins. This guy is perfect for them. Perfect. He's good size, flies around the ball. He's gonna do them wonders. He'll fit right in on that defense. He's a leader, coming from a smaller school. Tulsa's not that small, but it's smaller. All right. I think the Bills could go a couple different ways here, but ultimately, I think they take Rashawn Slater. All right. Green Bay Packers. Easy. Terrace Marshall, LSU. Get Aaron Rodgers, the wide receiver, that they should have got him already. Should have got him one already in the first round. And the Chiefs go Wyatt Davis to finish off the first round. Now, we got crazy with some trades. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a penny. Just, but it'll make you aware of my future content. You can come back here. You can visit. You can see my content. Okay, so again, in the future, coming up soon, I have a couple different things. I want to start putting out a breakdown video, a top 5, top 10 for the classes, wide receiver, quarterback, offensive line, whatever. And then I also, coming up soon, I will be doing some Madden content. So keep your eye out for that. I'm going to be doing some rebuilds. Okay? I enjoy doing that. I'd really like to put it on here. Finally have everything I need to set it up. So I'm going to start doing that soon. I'm already working on some stuff. So, I am the Gridiron Guy, and I am out.